my people. So I have some intense, deeply personal, emotional stories to share, and this ain't one of them. So 37 years ago, I murdered a cactus. I was dying of curiosity. I just had to know, so I killed it. I crushed it, and I felt guilty ever since. So to atone for that, I tell this story. Now, to understand my crime, we have to go back to my youth. As a kid, I loved science and experimentation. Like the electric fence at my grandparents' ranch. I was told not to touch it, so I touched it, and then I cried, then I touched it again. Or the time that I was researching erosion with this high-pressure hose nozzle in my dad's flower beds. He did not like that. The time that I performed psyops on my older sister to test her breaking point, I would leap out, latch onto her leg, and then wait and see how long it took for her to cry. Because science. So, in addition to this fascination with science, I was obsessed with wilderness and exploration. So, perfect example. When I was 9, my parents took us on this picnic to a state park out in California's Central Valley. Really just a little patch of nature surrounded by hundreds of square miles of farmland. But as far as I was concerned, it was the friggin' Louisiana Purchase. So the moment we get there, I jump out and I head out, on patrol because manifest destiny. So I see this tunnel, like a trail through these bushes, and I go in and I go farther and farther, and just when I think I can't go any farther, it opens up onto this bluff that overlooks the mighty Stanislaus River. And at that moment, I was sure that I was the first European ever to set eyes on that place. I was literally Lewis and Clark. So it was both of these fascinations, science and wilderness exploration, that led me to my cactus murdering moment. January 1985, I signed up for this college field course on the natural history and geography of Death Valley. So much to my professor's chagrin, I would just wander off to explore the desert any chance I got. And it was like this weird Pavlovian conditioning. Every time I'd go out, I'd find some cool thing, so I'd wander out again to find the next cool thing. So our professor took us to this Native American petroglyph site, way off trail. And of course, I wander farther off trail, and I find this rock with a petroglyph of 2 giant human handprints. And I drag my professor over to show her, and she's stunned. She'd never seen it nor anything like it. So another time, I just wander off into the desert, and I find these cool wildflowers, like these cool little furry cabbages. And I go drag my professor and my fellow students to show them, and again, they're totally impressed. It turns out it's the rare Death Valley bear poppy. My professor had only seen him in a book. Another time, I'm scaling this steep slope high above a canyon, and I stop to take a rest, and I look down. There's this fat lizard right in the middle of a cactus, impaled on the spines at the center, dripping with blood. Holy shit, I'm completely freaked out. I go back and I tell everybody, and after some research, it turns out that I've seen fresh evidence of the rarely observed mating ritual of the loggerhead shrike, otherwise known as the butcher bird. So I'm like this natural history wunderkind. I'm thinking, what's the next thing I'm gonna see? Like maybe a bighorn sheep giraffe hybrid, or like a patch of wild desert pineapples, or like an Archaeopteryx in flight. And I see nothing. And I think this is where my brain gets a little weird, because I need my next fix. I need the next discovery. And then I see it, this big stubby cotton top barrel cactus. And here's the deal, I'd always wondered how much moisture is inside a cactus. And I'm pretty sure it all goes back to when I was 6 watching The Flintstones, season 1, episode 5. Fred drinks cactus cooler for the first time. And my little 6-year-old brain says, oh my gosh, there's like that much liquid inside any cactus. So standing out there in the desert, I'm like, my curiosity boils over, and I just have to know. I'm thinking gusher. I'm thinking so much liquid I could keep my goldfish in there. And I start rationalizing it like, it's probably not a felony. I'm doing this for science. It's not endangered. Wrong. I shouldn't have done it, but what do? I pull out my knife. Now, I forgot to mention the cotton top cactus has these long, thick, rigid curving spines that overlap and weave together, forming what I like to call the interlocking armor of death. It has, its closest relative is called the horse crippler cactus. So my knife does nothing. So I look around and I was looking for a rock, and I find a rock the size of a bowling ball. And I throw it at it, and it bounces off like a little pebble. So I find the biggest fucking rock that I can hoist high above my head, and I slam it down on that cactus. And I get down and I push the rock out of the way, and I pull back some of that spiny armor, and I put my hand inside. So, do you know what bit of wisdom I gleaned on that fateful day? The inside of that cactus was kind of, sort of, barely just a tiny bit damp. That's it. No gusher, no cactus cooler. So now that you have this information, you don't have to make the same mistake I did. Because my curiosity killed the cactus so that yours doesn't have to. Thank you.